All right, welcome back to another YouTube video. So in this video, I'm gonna give you guys a recap, talk about some of these updates with the legacy ProEdge, which is my latest indicator, also still in beta testing for this month. So first things first, I'm on the MQ chart. This works really well on the 45-second time frame. Unfortunately, that's only available on the premium plan, so I highly recommend getting the premium plan. Okay, so we're gonna go load this up on the chart. We're gonna go to settings. What I usually do is I usually remove these long and short signals, and then TP1, 2, and 3, and then short TP1, 2, and 3. I like to keep this long stop loss and short stop loss on the chart. Then I don't need this extra data, so I'm going to uncheck this box. Okay, visibility, you leave everything as is. That's all I do in the style tab. Properties, I'll come back to this later. And next, let's go to input settings. Okay, so you have a couple of options. So you do have something called the account mode preset. Okay, it's set to custom by default. When you change any of this, it's going to change the settings. Okay, so if I do change MNQ 45-second balance V2, V2 means it's version 2 of this. Okay, so when you select this, and you'll notice the P&L change. Okay, so how I name this is I name it the ticker MNQ, meaning you have to be on the MNQ chart. And I also added the time frame, meaning you have to be on the 45-second time frame. That's all you have to do, and then just click on this. Make sure you have the 45 MNQ for it to be optimized, and this is basically the results. Okay. Hopefully that does make sense. And see, these were the trades. If you do change it to 1 minute time frame, the settings will also change as well. Okay. If you change it to the 2 minutes, the settings the P&L will also change. The settings obviously stays the same, obviously, but the P&L does actually change. So that's why it's optimized for the 45-second time frame. That's why I listed it as 45-second, because it gave the best results. And when you're on a preset, you cannot change anything because it's not going to change. It's not going to make a difference. Okay, so it's locked in on these settings automatically when you select it. So you can change whatever you want. It's not going to change anything. In order to change anything in the settings, you have to be on custom. Okay, and there will be more presets coming in the future, but this is just to get you started. Okay, right now let's do custom. And make sure this is enabled by default. Okay, it's based on the EST. And then you have the option to adjust the days filter. Okay, when you actually uncheck this, it's going to trade basically every day. Okay, so when you check this, you can select whatever day you want. Let's say Tuesday, Thursday. It's going to also change as well. Okay, Saturday and Sunday doesn't really make a difference unless you're trading crypto, I guess. But if you don't want it to trade on Monday, just uncheck this. Just letting you know. So basically on Sunday, 1800 EST, Asia Urban, actually reflects Monday's trades. Okay. So if you don't want to trade on Wednesday, then it starts on Tuesday, 1800 EST, Asia, reflects for Wednesday's trades. Hopefully that makes sense. But I usually leave everything checked by default. The next, you can enable Asia session, and let's say we're going to do 1850, and this is on EST, by the way. You can, if you uncheck this, it's going to take as many trades as it wants. Okay, so make sure you do keep that check if you want it to take limited amount of trades, and let's do that as 2 for now. You can also have the option to only take longs or shorts as well. Okay, so I'm gonna keep both of them checked, and then next we're gonna do on London session. We're gonna do 2 contracts, no, 2 trades. I meant limit 2 trades, and I'm not gonna trade on New York session. Okay, Because I find Asia session and London session works best. It takes a lot of losing trades in New York, or you can just do shorts only. And I see it, it's more profitable, and with shorts only for New York. So, but I don't trade New York session. Then we also have this enable cooldown period, so you can actually leave that check. So whenever it enters a trade, after stop loss or take profit is hit, it basically waits 5 minutes before it enters the next trade. And this is in minutes. You can change this to 10 or 60 minutes, whatever you want. I usually keep as 5. And then also got a re-entry zone cooldown period. You can switch that to points, ticks or pips. We'll do points. I'll keep as 20 for now. And if you enable this, so basically what it does is, basically once it hits a stop loss, like a full stop loss, it's going to wait 20 points before it can trigger the next signal. So if there's a signal within 20 points of that stop loss price, it's going to get ignored, okay? It has to move 20 points away from that stop loss price for the next signal, either long or short. Hopefully that makes sense. Then there's market intelligent engine. Will keep everything by default. I like to use fast EMS 21, slow EMS 50. Bullish confidence level, meaning it has to be at least above 55 for a buy trade, and then bearish confidence level has to be below 45 for a sell trade. And this is basically the AI feature of the ProEdge. And then I also got some signal quality filters. And also FYI, if you don't know what any of this does, you can always click on this description icon. It will tell you exactly what it does, okay? So we'll skip all of this for now. And then there's the take profit settings. You can choose ticks, points, money, percentage, or pips. I usually use points. And quality format, percentage or contracts. We're going to do contracts. Enable take profit 1, check. I'm gonna, let's say 25 points, and then this is going to be 3 contracts. We're gonna enable take profit 2, and we're gonna do that as 50 contracts and do take off 2 contracts. We're gonna leave TP3 off. Then stop loss format, you can choose points, ticks, money, percentage, or pips. We're gonna choose points, and then just 45 points for stop loss. And then Martingale feature, we're gonna do 5 contracts, okay? So basically where you adjust contract sizing is actually going to be in Martingale. It's going to be in base contract quantity. So when you go to properties where it says default order size, in other strategies or scripts, this is where you actually adjust the quantity sizing. But obviously when you're using Legacy ProEdge, it doesn't really go off this number, right? So it's going to go off this number. This is where you adjust the contract sizing. And also note, this does not have to be checked. It automatically goes off this number. As of right now, Martingale feature is actually unavailable. It actually does not work with ProEdge at the moment. So make sure you do keep this off, okay? And make sure your base quantity contract aligns with your TP1 and TP2. Meaning, since I'm using 5 contracts, so take profit 1, once it moves 25 points in my favor, it's going to take off 3 contracts. And if it hits TP2, which is basically another 50 points, it's going to remove the remaining 2 contracts. So obviously 3 plus 2 is 5, right? So make sure these 2 adds up to your base quantity, or the chart is going to get messed up, okay? And I also like to enable break-even feature, and I like to do this as 30 points and offset points as 5. So meaning if it moves 30 points in my favor, and let's say if it reverses, it's going to stop me at break even. But since I have the offset as 5, it's going to be stopping me at 5 points above the entry price. So which means I'll gain some money and profit, if that makes sense. And then we also have a feature called move stop loss to entry after TP1 hits, and then move stop loss to TP1 after TP2 hits. That's self-explanatory. And then we also have this trailing stop loss. So when you enable this or disable it, you can choose whatever format you want. Let's say points, and let's say 20 points, or keep the trailing distance as 10. So which means this feature is going to start after it reaches 20 points in profit, and then the distance is going to be 10 points. So this feature will get activated once it moves 20 points in profit. So let's say it moves, let's say 40 points in profit, but it reverses and it goes down by 10 points, it's going to stop you out basically for 30 points in profit. So hopefully that makes sense. And then we also have the window lockout settings. You can do per day or per session. So when that's enabled, you can choose either from 1 to 10. So which means if you win 3 trades in a row, it will stop you out for the remainder of the day, or you can do per session. So if it stops you out in Asia session, you got 3 winners, it'll lock you out for the remainder of that session, and then it will take another 3 winning trades in London session, and so forth. And then you also got this consecutive loss lockout settings. You can do per day, per session as well. Also 1 to 10, so let's say 3. Enable this, so if you lose 3 trades in a row, it will automatically lock you out for the remainder of that day. So let's leave both of them unchecked. And then we also got this contract cut down settings. So when you actually enable this, you can choose per day, per session as well. So when you do per day, so let's say if you take a winning trade of 5 contracts, so the next trade is going to be reducing it by 1 contract, since that's what it's set by default. So next trade is going to be 4 contracts. If that trade wins, it's going to cut down another 1 contract. So the next trade is going to be 3 contracts, and so forth. So we'll keep that off. And then of course you can also adjust the collar zones for take profit and stop loss zones. You can adjust them. And then we also have got this news filter settings. So if you check forexfactory.com, if you know there's a news coming out, let's say at 8:30, you can actually enable this. So which means starting from 8:25, 5 minutes before the news, no trade, and then you can adjust that, let's say to, you can actually also type, let's say 8:35 as well. So let's say news comes out at 8:30. And so basically from 8:25, 5 minutes before the news, no trade. And then you rate 5 minutes after the news, starting at 8:35, it can take a trade. And you can also enable this, so which means if you are actually in a trade, it will flatten all positions on your blockout window. So by 8:25, it will close all remaining positions, whether you're in profit or in drawdown. And you can also show the news background and color as well. So you can only do up to 3. So there's that option. And then we also got this daily profit limit, daily loss limit, as well as a weekly profit limit and a weekly loss limit as well, that you can also enable in the settings too. So last on the list is, you notice this chart, right? So it shows you the daily P&L for today. It shows you the number of trades it took, which is 4, profit factor 7.5, daily win rate 85.7. So you got this daily section, this weekly section, and this monthly section as well. And it also shows the previous week's profit, and it also shows the previous month in profit as well. But I don't think the previous month profit is actually working at the moment, but previous week's profit is actually working. And then you also got this Monday to Friday schedule. And just letting you know, this does reset every day at 1800 EST at Asia Open, but you do have to wait until the first trade is took. So meaning this daily trade, which was basically on Friday, was $900 in profit. So this is gonna basically reset basically on Sunday, 1800 EST. Okay. The same thing. Weekly does reset every Sunday. Every week on Sunday at 1800 EST. Monthly resets obviously on the first of the month at 1800 EST, and so forth. Okay. But like I said, the number will stay until it enters the first trade. So once it enters the first trade, then everything goes back to zero. And this does update in real time. And you can always adjust whatever you want. Let's say you only want to show the daily, weekly, no need for previous. You can remove the previous month. I don't need to see the trade counts. And there's also no need to see the profit factor or win rate as well. So you can actually shrink it down too. And you can always adjust the position top right, top left, bottom right, or bottom left, and check whatever information you want to see. And as you can see, if you look at the total P&L on the strategy report, it actually matches with what's on the dashboard as well. And one cool trick you can actually do on properties. So if you go down, commission, if you do like 1.5 in commission, and do per contract, and then slippage, you can do 5 ticks. Order execution delay, you can just do maybe 1 tick and then hit OK. It will also adjust this strategy report, and will also adjust this P&L calendar as well, just to make it a little bit more accurate. Because obviously when it comes to, obviously TradingView delays, bad slippage, obviously those cannot be avoided. It's going to happen. One way you can I guess work with it is by using position brackets. TopStep has it, TraderVate has it as well. Make sure you do use position brackets just to help, so you're not losing more money and because of slippage, if that makes sense. So yeah, but I highly recommend this. Seems to be works really well with the 45-second time frame. It did pass evals and got me really good payouts on my funded account. So the link will be in my description. This is only available on the Legacy Prime plan. You do get full access to my Discord community as well, my mentorship coaching. So this will be included, as well as the Legacy Sniper Bot, many other indicators as well. And I use Traders Post as my third-party provider, so you can use that. The link will be in my description, and use my coupon code. You do get a discount for that as well. By looking at the last week's trades, last Friday was really good. As you can see, it won the first trade, full take profit, won the second trade, full take profit. 3 trades, full take profit. I just lost the last one. And you can see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So obviously it can still take losing days. It can also cause you to have a lot of losing trades. But as long as you're green by the end of the week. And I only trade Asian London session, as I mentioned, just 2 trades per session. It's all about risk management. And this is a non-repainting indicator. So whatever you see on the chart is 100% accurate. And one way you can tell is you can actually use this replay mode and then just replay it. That's one way to confirm whether an indicator repaints or doesn't. And you can see the P&L, see how it's actually updating in real time, which is actually pretty cool. So that's that. And I also want to show you something else too. So this P&L is actually using 7 contracts. I actually got this from one of my members in my Discord community. So if you actually change this to 0 by default and do none, You see, it actually made like over $1,000 on Friday, 5,000 this week, and then over 15,000 this month. And it took like 1.7K on Monday, 2.1K on Tuesday, over 1,000. Wednesday, Thursday was actually a red day, and then Friday over 1,000. This can be really good for passing evals and even getting really good in payouts as well. But play around with the commission and make sure you make it as realistic as possible to your actual accounts. Because I find using 1.5 per contract on commission, 5 ticks, and 1 tick was actually almost accurate to what my actual trades were because of really bad slippage that week. But obviously, it may be better or it may be worse. But I would say this is probably the average. But I feel free to play with it though. That's all I'm gonna be mentioning in this YouTube video. Hopefully, I'll be coming out with more updates in the future. But this isn't beta testing for this month, but only available on the Legacy Prime plan. So make sure you do click the link in my description, and I'll catch you in next week's video.